Okay. All right, I'm not going to memorize this, but I can try to do it. I'm going to have to read it through multiple times, so.
Yeah, that's okay. Well, at least get it out there.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want me to start?
Yeah.
All right. Hey, Sean, this is Morgan Linkus. You had met with one of our carriers one of our agents in the past that is no longer with us. It looks like you had a policy with Americo with a premium of $120 that looks like it was either canceled or it lapsed. We know this was originally really important to you and your family. You wanted to protect your family from a financial burden in case anything happened to you. And I'm the new agent assigned to. Oh, God. It's been a while. I'm the new agent who has been assigned to your case to help you get something back in force. Was this policy just originally too expensive? Did you find something better? What was going on?
It was actually a little bit too expensive.
A little bit too expensive? No problem. Yeah. So I totally understand. If you don't mind, I would love to set up a 10 to 15 minute phone call. It looks like rates have gone down a little bit. Every year they do. And we can check out and see if there's something that is within your budget.
Okay.
I have some openings here at 3 p.m. today or 4 p.m. tomorrow. Do either of those work for you?
I can do 3 p.m.
3 p.m. 3 p.m. today. Awesome. Let me put you down for that. And then I'm going to go over and send over a text reminder. Is this the number you'd like to receive text at?
Yep.
Awesome. All right. I'll go ahead and send that over. And I will talk to you later.
Sweet.
Thanks, Sean.
Not too bad.
Oh, God.
Not too bad.
That was really bad.
Well, what I would do though is obviously you want to make sure that when you get into to Americo that the app and everything is still working, and then make sure that if it's not to call Americo.
Okay.
But also for final expense, you want to try to do a one call close. Don't forget
Right.
about that.
Right. Yeah. So I was just trying to follow the script.
Yeah.
But yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. I generally hop right into it.
Yeah. Yeah. Normally you do. Because otherwise, if you set the appointment, there's going to be like 70% of them aren't going to show up.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm well familiar with no shows, especially in counties I've worked in Michigan. Like I was getting maybe 90% of people showing up to appointments or 10%. So
A 90% no show.
yeah, it was really bad.
Yeah.
I would spend, I'd literally schedule 50 appointments and have one person answer.
Yeah. Yeah. You know how that is. So we always want to do final expense, no appointments, and a lot of times if you have to go schedule the appointment, then I don't even like to schedule the appointment. I like to just clear the schedule. So you can just say something like let's say you're in the middle of the appointment and they say, well, how much longer is this going to take? I don't have too much time. Now, if you're really ready to get into the application, you can just tell them, well, it's only going to take like 10 minutes and then we're done. Right.
Okay.
But if you're not close to the application and you have to reschedule, what I would do is I would say, well, let me ask you this. What time do you think you'll be back in the door? And then they'll say probably by like 5:00. So after 5:00, what do you have going on? There's nothing going on. You'll be home the rest of the evening. Yeah, I'll be home rest of the evening. Okay, the reason why I ask is because I don't have any time available. I'm booked up the rest of the evening. But I tell you what, if I can find some time in between my phone calls, I'll try to give you a call. Is that okay?
Okay.
Yes.
Yep.
And then that way you don't have to set the appointment and then you know what time they're going to be home for the rest of the day. And usually, and you can even ask them, is that really your schedule? Like every day after 5 o'clock, you're home every day? Yeah, it is. Okay, cool. Well, I'll try to squeeze you in. I can't guarantee anything, but I'll try to squeeze you in and give you a call back because I know this is important to you. Is that this is important to you, correct? Yeah. You know what I mean? And then that way, you know what time they're home, you know what time they're available, and then that way you can call and get it done.
Yeah, right. And I like the question of, is this important to you? Because I feel like then
Yes.
you can instantly gauge, you know,
Yeah.
how committed this person
How
is.
important it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've
You can,
never asked that
I like to
question.
say, because I know this is important to you, this is important to you, correct?
Yeah,
And then then you can kind of gauge from there, right? Or you can just
absolutely.
flat out ask them, is this really important to you?
Hmm.
I don't want to waste your time if and my time if it's not important,
Okay.
and
Yeah,
if they say
kind of
no,
take it away a little bit, and then it makes people
yeah,
chase after it.
yeah. So yeah, pretty good.
Okay.
Um, do you want to go through it again?
Sure.
Okay.
I'm going to try and slow down because I know I was kind of going a little fast. Hey, Sean, this is Morgan Linkus. I'm giving you a call here from the Washtenaw County Benefit Center. It looks like back in January, you had a policy with Americo for covering final expenses. It looks like this policy lapsed or canceled back in 2024. And the agent that handled your case is no longer with us. So I was assigned to your file to help and review and hold on. I was assigned to your file to review your old policy with you and see what happened. It looks like, or oh my goodness.
It's okay. Just go with it.
Yeah. Now, was this policy too expensive? What was going on here? Do you know what happened with it?
Well, actually, what I would do first, Morgan,
Yeah.
rather than asking if it was too expensive, I would try to find the pain, right? What were they going to use it for?
Okay.
What was this policy for? Was it to cover a loved one? Was it to leave money behind for a funeral or a cremation? Most people have policies because they don't care about themselves, they care about their family. So, who was the beneficiary? Was it your son? Was it a neighbor? Was it your sister, brother? Who was the beneficiary?
Okay.
Right. And then they're going to tell you, well, it was my son. Oh, okay. How old is your son, by the way? Now you're going to dig a little bit deeper. How
Right.
old was your son, by the way? Well, he's 23. Oh, okay. Does he have a family? Yeah, he does. Okay. And then what was this for? To pay for a funeral or a cremation? Well, it was to pay for my funeral. Oh, so you had it in place so that if something happens to you, your son doesn't have to come out of pocket to pay for the funeral. Is that kind of what I'm getting here? Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Okay. Well, it looks like it has lapsed, and I'm sure you already know that because that was a couple of years ago. I always like to make sure that I'm sure you already know that because
Okay.
otherwise they'll come back and say, well, I didn't even know. I've been paying for it this whole time. Well, then you
Right.
have to kind of go back and say, no, you haven't. Check your bank account, right? So if I say I'm sure you already know this, it's lapsed or it has canceled. So we want to make sure to get you in, and I know now you can go back and use the pain point. Now I know your son is important to you, and you don't want to leave a financial burden to him. So what my job is to go over the new 2025 programs right now because they are a little bit cheaper. You have gotten a little bit older, so it may be a little bit of a wash to you, but let's see if we can find something that's affordable for you and get something in place for you. How does that sound?
Okay.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Does that make sense? Just kind of digging into the pain
Absolutely.
first. Because when you start talking about their loved ones, when you start talking about the people that they love the most, who doesn't want to see pain for the people that they love the most, right? They
Mm-hmm.
want them protected. That's the whole reason why they have life insurance, right?
Mm-hmm.
So by digging into that stuff, helping them, because otherwise, if you work it the other way around and start asking them, was it lapsed or was it canceled? Was it because it was too much money? Now they're looking at the pain point of it being too much money,
Right.
or I didn't
And not
want
the
it.
value of the policy.
Yeah, but but if you bring up what was this for, was it, or who was the beneficiary on this policy? Well, it was my son. Now you can dig deeper on the son. Now you're bringing up the personal information. You're getting them to think emotionally. And when people make emotional decisions, they're more apt to buy.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So then once you get into that, then you can start saying, hey, uh, the last policy that you had was $120. Was that affordable for you, or did you? Well, I don't know if I would say it that way. I would probably say I wouldn't even bring up the cost of it, actually, because then you're
Yeah,
going to have them
Sean,
thinking
can you
about the
back up
cost.
like
So what I
one
would
minute?
say is, it looks like your policy was for 40.
Yeah, back up.
You want me
And
to back
there was a
up?
certain point where you're going into the policy and you weren't bringing up the price or you're digging for the reason why they originally had a policy that they let lapse
Yeah.
or got canceled.
Yeah. Correct.
Can you start back at that
Yeah.
point?
So are you trying to, are you asking me? Yeah. So the reason why,
Right?
though, she's calling restoration leads,
Correct.
and you have restoration leads too, right? So what I'm saying is, when she calls, to just, instead of getting into the cost and why it lapsed and why it canceled, to first start digging into who is the beneficiary on
Mm,
this policy. We have that you have had a policy with Americo. If you don't
that's
mind
a
me
key
asking, who is
question
the
right there.
beneficiary?
Dig it.
And then you're
Dig
going to
it.
start digging
Got it.
into the pain point, right? Who is the beneficiary? How old is your son? How old is your daughter? How old is your sister? Right? Does she have a family? Yeah, she has a family. Okay. Any kids, grandkids, that kind of thing? Yeah, she has two kids. Oh, okay. So I'm sure she's probably living paycheck to paycheck. So if she were to have to come out of pocket for a funeral or a cremation, that might be a little bit of a burden to her. Yeah, that's kind of why I had the policy. Okay. It shows here that it lapsed or it was canceled. How much was the policy for? Well, I think I had it for 20,000. Okay. Do you think that's enough for you, or do you think you would need more? Well, that's probably enough. Okay. Now, do you know why it lapsed, or did you just forget about the
Yeah, just
payment? Then you can kind of dig into it. I wouldn't dig into what they're actually paying for, because then they're going to
just
think of the cost coming out of their pocket, right? We want them to think about their loved one and how big of a pain point it would be if that loved one didn't have any money left over, right? That's the whole purpose of it. Does that make sense, Kelly? Did that answer your question, Kelly? Frozen like an ice cube. Oh, yeah, because we don't want them to think of the cost, right? We want them to think of the benefit. The benefit is that it's going to protect their family, it's going to protect their son, it's going to protect their daughter, whatever. And that daughter isn't going to have that financial burden of having to come out of pocket. Okay. Looks like he had to reboot. The other thing is you can also ask them, since you're asking them, what is this for? You can also ask them, you can build the policy off of that. So let's say they say, well, this is to pay for a funeral. Okay. So funerals, well, how much did you have? Well, I had 10,000. Okay. Well, funerals, 20 years ago were anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000. And now they're really about 10 to 15,000. So I don't know if 10,000 is quite enough, but I'm sure you don't plan on dying this next week. What do you think it's going to be if you live another 20 years? We're projected. We have our managers telling us to put down 15 to 20,000 for a funeral. Oh, really? Yes, because cost of living goes up. But let me ask you this: do you own your own home or do you rent? Well, I own my own home. Okay. Do you have a mortgage balance on there? Yes, I do. Okay. Well, let me ask you this: how much is your payment every month? It's about $1,000 a month. Now, I'm sure you have equity in the home there. Do you want that equity in your home to go to your son as well? Yeah. Okay. So if he has to make that mortgage payment while he's getting ready to sell it after you die, that might be a financial burden for him as well. So do you think we should build in maybe 6 months worth of payments to give him some time to sell the property so that he doesn't lose the house due to foreclosure? Yeah, we can do that. Okay. So 6 months worth of payments is $6,000. See, now you've built it up to 26,000 for that policy, right? Our whole goal is to cover them for what their needs are, not to just sell them life insurance, right? And the more and more and more we help these clients figure out and build a policy according to what their needs are, the more they're going to love us, the more they're going to never charge back. Because if you have a policy that is covering multiple things, it's covering a funeral, it's covering a 6 months worth of payments of mortgage protection, it's going to leave $2,000 behind to 5 grandkids, right? The next thing you can ask is, do you have any grandkids? Does your son have any kids? Yes, he does. How many kids does he have? He has 3. Is that all your grandkids that you have? Yep, that's all I have. Most of my clients want to leave some behind to the grandkids to kind of help them get started as like a last love letter. Most of my clients want to leave anywhere from 2,000 to 5,000 behind. Would you want to leave anything behind? I'm just kind of planting the seed and dragging them along the way, right? I planted the seed of most of my clients want to leave 2,000 to 5,000 behind. And then I asked them, would you want to leave anything behind? Well, if the Joneses are leaving 2,000 to 5,000 behind, how much do I want to leave? Right? Well, yeah, I could probably leave 2,000 behind. Okay, 2,000 times 3 grandkids, that's $6,000, right? So now instead of 26,000, now you're at 32,000 for the policy, right? And now, whenever you sell that policy, or whenever they get that policy issued, now they know that that policy is going to cover this, 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 and this, and they're not going to charge back because it covers multiple things.
Okay. Quick question. Just
Sure.
regarding adding money for grandchildren. I know with Americo, there's that grandchild term rider type thing.
Yeah.
That would be, I guess that would be different. Like, would we want to add on extra money and then also do that in addition?
Well, you could. So
I guess that's just
that's
term insurance, right?
a different type of policy, right? That pays out if the grandchild dies.
I
It
thought it
doesn't
was
pay
just
out,
yeah. Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right. Sorry.
so it covers the grandchild,
Yeah.
right? And they only get up to like 5,000. And the grandchild has to live with them in the house, and they have to be under 18.
Oh, I didn't know that part. Okay.
Yeah.
I knew under
So they have
18. I
to.
didn't know they had to all be under the same roof.
Yeah. So it's really for if the person that is taking care of that person dies,
Okay.
right? So if grandma is taking care of the grandchild, then the grandma is responsible for the grandchild. The grandma has expenses for that grandchild. And so if that grandchild dies, then she's also going to have death expenses, a funeral, a cremation.
Right.
And so that helps with those expenses. That's what that rider is for.
Okay. Sorry, I got that mixed up. Thank you.
No, that's okay. It's a great question. Then, but the other way is to leave a benefit for the grandchild if grandma dies,
Mm-hmm.
right? So my point is like there's different ways that you can build that policy. And a lot of times, you'll find people that say, well, I already have life insurance, right? How many times have you heard that before? Well, I already have coverage. I already have life insurance. Now you can say, okay, perfect. Well, I'm a manager. I cover all of the Midwest states here. And usually when the girls put this on my desk is because they want to make sure, or you can say because they think that they can put you in a better position. If you don't mind me asking, which carrier did you go through? And if they're not one of your carriers, then they're probably not an A-rated carrier. We have all the top carriers here at FFL, right? And so then you can say, I'm not sure if that's an A-rated carrier, or you can say, okay, how much are you paying for that policy? Well, I'm paying $60 a month. Ooh, and whatever they're paying doesn't matter. You can just use that to kind of get an appointment with them or go transition into putting them in a better position. How much coverage did you have? Well, I had $10,000. Okay, were you planning on being cremated or planning on being buried? The reason why I'm asking is because I think I could put you in a better position. I mean, do you have diabetes or did you have a heart attack? I mean, why are you paying $60 a month? And so now I didn't say that anything bad, but it kind of planted the seed of, wow, maybe I'm paying too much for my policy, right? It gets them to literally, not saying that they have a bad policy, but what I'm trying to do is open their mind to listen to what I want to share with them. Right. And because if their mind is closed and they're like, nope, I already got it. I'm in a great position. I don't need any help. They're going to hang up on you. Right. But if we can ask the right questions to get them to think about what their needs are, then it opens their mind to think about, what possibly out there is better than what I have right now. That's the whole goal. Right. So we can ask them, hey, what carrier are you with? Well, I'm with Mutual of Omaha. How much are you paying, if you don't mind me asking? Or you can ask them, how much coverage you have. How much coverage do you have? I have $10,000. Okay. Now, were you planning on being buried or being cremated? Well, I'm planning on being cremated. Okay. And then what's the extra $5,000 going for? Because a cremation usually costs about $3,000 to $5,000. Well, I was just going to leave that behind. Are you leaving that behind to the grandkids or to the kids? To the grandkids. Okay, so how many grandkids do you have? I have 10. Okay, so they're only going to get $500 a piece. The reason why I ask is because most of my clients are not in the best position possible. Do you own your own home or do you rent? Well, I own my own home. Okay, how much do you pay for your mortgage? Well, I pay $1,000 a month. And then who would be your beneficiary? I probably should ask the beneficiary first, right? But you can ask who would be your beneficiary and dig in that way. The beneficiary would be my son. Okay, how old is your son? Right now you're digging deep on the beneficiary, because when you ask for the beneficiary and you dig deep on the beneficiary, then you can find out, and then that tells them that you really, really care about them, right? Well, my son is 22. Does he have a family? Yeah, he's married. And any of your grandkids, are they his? Yeah, 2 of them are. Okay, so you have 10 grandkids and 2 of them are his. Yep. So if he were to have to come out of pocket and pay for your funeral, that might be a financial burden to him then, right? Yes, it would. Okay, so we want to make sure that he has enough to cover all of the needs. One of the needs are a mortgage, right? Because if I'm sure he's not going to move into the house, maybe he will, but I'm sure he's not. Most people don't. They either keep the house as a rental, they either sell the house, or they move into the house. And if he's not going to move into the house, chances are he'll sell the house, but he's going to get the equity out of there. But if he can't afford to make that payment, then the bank is going to take the house and he's going to lose all the equity in the house, right? Yeah. Well, let's build in enough payments for him in the policy so that he can have 6 months worth of payments. So let's put an extra $6,000 in there so that he can have enough payments so that he doesn't have to come out of pocket to pay that. Does that sound fair enough? Yes. So now you've taken this client that is already a client of another agent that already has a policy with another agent, and now you're putting them in the better position possible. They have enough for their cremation. They have enough money to leave behind to their loved ones as like a last love letter, and they have enough to pay the mortgage if their their beneficiary has enough to pay the mortgage, right? So you're essentially customizing and building a policy for each individual so that they know that, and again, I'll say this again, when you have a policy that is built for multiple purposes, one for a cremation or a funeral, one for the cost of the mortgage payments, one to leave some extra payments behind for the grandkids, $500, $1,000 a piece for the grandkids. You have multiple purposes built into that policy. What's the chances of that policy charging back? Very, very small, right? Because there's multiple purposes. They know that if they cancel the policy, their grandkids aren't going to get any money left behind. They know if they cancel the policy that their loved one isn't going to have enough payments to get the equity out of the house. And the reality of it is that equity in the house, let's say their house is worth $400,000. If they sold it that day, their house is worth $400,000. But they may have a mortgage on there for $150,000 because they've had it for 15, 20 years. They have $250,000 of equity. That's really the life insurance benefit, that equity in that property. But if they lose the house because their loved one, their beneficiary, can't make the payment, then all that equity is gone. And so really that equity for that house is the life insurance policy for that loved one. So we have to help them understand that. And so maybe we give them 12 months to sell the house. Let's say they have a beneficiary that is, wants to move into the house, right? Let's say that they say, yeah, my son is the beneficiary. He is the one that's going to make the payment. Okay, perfect. Is he planning on moving into the house? Is he planning on taking ownership of the house, or is he planning on selling it to get the equity out of the house, right? This is all for final expense leads, guys. Well, let's say that he says, well, he's planning on moving into the house. Well, if he moves into the house, he has to be able to apply for the mortgage. You can't leave the mortgage in the same person's name. The bank won't let you. As soon as they see that death certificate, they're going to say, you're not the owner of the property, and the owner of the property is dead, so you either have to sell the house or you have to become the owner of the property. And if you're now the owner of the property, the bank says you now need to reapply in your own name. And since you have to reapply in your own name, they're going to check your credit. I'm on a training call right now. You're going to have to wait. You're going to have to wait, please. Okay. So the equity in the property becomes the owner, or becomes the life insurance for the policy. But when they reapply and get the credit in their own name, if they have bad credit, they're not going to be able to do that for a while. right? It may take them 3 to 6 months to go through a credit rebuilding program before they're able to get a loan on a piece of real estate property. So in order to do that, maybe you need to build in 12 months worth of payments for them, right? So that's why it's important to dig down and find the need. And we do that at the very, very top of the call, because if we can get the need and the pain points and the why out of the way, people never know how much you care until they care how much you know. Well, now I said that the wrong way, didn't I? People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. That's the right way to say it. But by asking all of these questions, the right questions, a lot of times you ask them the need questions and dig down deep on their family, and they understand how much you care. The credibility problem is out the window, because you become their guy. You become their lady to help them, right? And if you become their lady to help them, guess what they're going to do? They're going to refer all their friends to you because they know you care. And this is just for final expense, guys. You guys can do exactly the same thing when it comes to term or IULs, because you want to pertain it to the problem that they're having. But with final expense, all we have to do is cover a funeral or a cremation, cover their mortgage, and ask them if they want to leave anything behind to their grandkids or their kids. Most of my clients, they want to leave a little bit of extra behind to their loved ones as like a last love letter. Let me ask you, do you have any grandkids? I do. How many grandkids do you have? 5. Okay. Most of my clients leave anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000 behind per grandkid. How much do you want to leave behind to a grandkid? $500, $2,000, $5,000? We can build that into the policy as well for you. And that way, when you pass away, they can think of grandma as like the best grandma in the world. That would be great, wouldn't it? Oh, yes. Thank you, sir. Right? So that's kind of how we build the policy. Any questions, concerns on that? No? Okay. So let's do some role play. Anybody want to step up and do a role play?
I guess I can.
All right. What do you want to do? Mortgage protection, final expense, or IUL?
Whatever you want. Mortgage protection is fine with me.
Okay. All right. We can do that.
Okay. What are we doing? Just like from the beginning, like from the
Sure.
start? Okay.
Yeah. You want to? Yeah. Just go ahead and set the appointment.
Oh, we're setting an appointment. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Well, with mortgage protection, we want to try to get both of them there, right?
Right.
Because a lot of times on mortgage protection, we can sell 2 policies to the homeowner. Well, because they're both homeowners usually, the husband and the wife.
Husband and
Unless
wife,
they're
right?
divorced or widowed or single. But that way they're both protecting each other. And it's better to have 2 policies on each other at 50% of the mortgage than have the whole thing on one of them, unless the wife doesn't work. Right. Then you can definitely have it just on the husband, because she's the vulnerable one, because if he dies, there's no income coming out of the family. She doesn't have a job, and the kids are going to a different school. That's for sure. They got to move.
Gotcha. And we're doing. We're just setting an appointment, right?
Yeah.
We're not going through this. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, Sean.
Yeah.
Hey, Sean. How you doing?
Doing good. How are you?
Good, good. I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. My name is Haitham, and I'm calling you from Jules Mortgage Protection, and I'm reaching out to you regarding the form that was filled out, requesting some more information regarding the mortgage protection. It's the type of coverage in case if something was to happen to you, it'll pay off the mortgage for your loved ones. Is that what you were looking for?
Yeah. Okay. I remember filling that out. That makes
All right,
sense.
perfect. And were you looking for coverage just for yourself or for you and your spouse?
Uh, well, just for myself right now.
Okay. And so I was just reaching out to you so I can connect with you and set an appointment so I can help you with the finding the coverage that you're looking for. Are you currently working or retired?
Right now I'm working.
Oh, okay, great. And what time do you usually get off work?
Usually, I get off about 3 o'clock.
All right, perfect. Um, I have an available slot for tomorrow around 4 p.m. Would that work for you?
No, because I don't get home till about 5 o'clock.
Got you. Okay. Yeah, I know traffic got to be bad sometimes around that time
Yeah.
getting off work.
Yeah.
I do have a 5:30 available and a 6:30. Which one would work best for you?
Probably the 6:30.
6:30?
Uh-huh.
Okay. And anything besides an emergency, do you think that will do you have any other commitments besides any, that you won't be able to make it to the appointment besides an emergency?
Not that I know of.
Okay. I will be calling you tomorrow at 6:30 your time. When I call you, can you please make sure you have a paper and pen handy so you can write some important information that I'll be sharing with you. We will go through try to see what we can get you approved for and see how much coverage that you're going to be looking to get and find you the best option that's available for you.
Okay.
And so you're just looking for coverage just for yourself. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't need to ask about the wife. Okay. Other than that, do you have any questions for me I can answer for you?
Nope.
All right, perfect. So I will be calling you tomorrow around 6:30 your time. But just allow me 10 to 15 minutes in case if I'm running behind with my previous appointment. Other than that, I will be calling you on time. And like I mentioned, if you can just have a paper and pen handy so you can write some important information that I'll be sharing with you. So I will be calling you tomorrow at 6:30 your time. Sounds good?
Perfect.
All right, perfect. Thank you for taking the call, Sean, and I'm looking forward to speaking with you tomorrow and help you find the coverage that you're looking for. And I'll be
Love
calling
it.
you at 6:30. You have yourself a great
Good
day.
job,
We'll talk
Hayden.
later. Thank you,
That
sir.
was a good one. You did great.
Thank you.
Yeah. Cool, calm, collected, and confident, right? I like to
Always.
always think of the 4 C's, right? Because when you're cool, I mean, who doesn't want to talk to the cool guy, right? And that means you're kind of um, what do I want to say? A little bit ambitious. You're kind of creative in the terminology. That's the cool guy, right? Sometimes you crack a little bit of jokes. You didn't crack any jokes on this one. This is just a appointment setting call. But you were calm, right? If you're calm, they're going to be calm on the other side. And that's what we want. We don't want somebody that's in a hurry. If somebody's in a hurry, they're talking really, really fast. And on the other side of the phone, they're going to be talking really, really fast, trying to get you off the phone as fast as possible, right? But if you're super calm and just talking in a low, even keel, that's going to keep them on the phone longer. Because when we're setting the appointment, the goal is to keep them on the phone the longest, right? And then finally to actually just set the appointment. And confident, you were confident as well. You knew exactly what to say. You didn't stutter. I have a really good habit of stuttering, and that makes me not confident. But over the course of the years of me stuttering, see, I'm stuttering right now. I've learned to be confident in my stuttering, knowing that I'm just going to move forward. But also with confidence, if you don't have the confidence, what I like to teach my agents is that to build confidence, a lot of times all you have to do is project out your voice a little bit more, because confident people talk a little bit louder. Think of Donald Trump. He is one of the most confident people I know, right? Whether you're a Donald Trump fan or not, doesn't matter. But he always talks with a very, very sharp, direct voice, and it's more projected out. It's loud, right? I'm not saying talk loud, but by being confident, we can talk louder, right? Now, you were confident just because you didn't stutter. You knew exactly where you needed to go. You didn't have, there was no space in between words unless it was designed to be that way. And then cool, calm, confident, and you were collected. What is collected? Collected means that you were literally prepared, right? You had everything that you needed. You knew exactly where to go. You had the information that you needed for that particular person, and you knew how to set the appointment exactly. You were prepared. And sometimes it takes a little bit to be prepared, and to be confident, you have to go through repetitions over and over and over again to do that. And that's okay. I mean, we're not always expected to be confident and collected right off the bat. But I always like to use the term, and some people don't like this term, fake it till you make it, right? If you don't have the things you need to get you to that point, follow somebody who does. Look at somebody who does and fake it till you make it. If you don't have the confidence, act like you're confident. If you're not prepared, act like you're prepared. Because sometimes we don't know what we don't know, right? We can only get so prepared, and then we have to take action to find out what we don't know so that we can get more prepared on the next call based off of the action we took on the previous call, right? So being collected also includes being prepared, but we have to do what we can to be prepared so that we can move forward. And the only way we're actually going to move forward is by taking action.
Right? One thing I don't know if you noticed, this is something that I do, is I mentioned the appointment time 3 times separately before I hung up. One when I set the appointment, when another one was like right after that I will be calling you on time, and one before I hung up. Hopefully that will sink in their brains and remember.
Well, you also nailed down the appointment very well, Hytham. I mean, you said the appointment, and then you told them to have a pen and paper handy, because I'm going to be going over some important information that you are going to want to write down. Then you talked about the appointment again, and then you asked them, you nailed it in and said, as far as you know right now, barring any emergencies, there's nothing going on at that point in time. Then you talked about the appointment again, and then you asked them if they could give you a leeway if you were just 15 to 30 minutes late, right? So in between there, you nailed down the appointment, talking about the appointment every single time, which is awesome. I mean, that way it helps them remember it. Another thing you could do is have them write it down. And that's what I did a lot of times when I was, doing final expense, because I would get a lot of no-shows, and I would finally get them to write it down. And I'd tell them, by law, I need you to write down my license number. Okay. And this is after I set the appointment. By law, since we're doing this over the phone, I want you to write down I have to have you write down my license number. Can you grab a pen and paper real quick? And they'll say, oh yeah. If I say by law, they'll grab a pen and paper every time. If I don't say by law, they'll say, well, can you just text it to me? I don't want to text it to them. I want them to write it down, because when we write things down, we see it, we hear it, and we feel it, right, through the pen. So we're using 3 of the senses. So we want them to write it down. But I don't care if they write down my license number. What I'm actually doing is using that as a tool for them to grab a pen. And then what I'm going to do is I'll say, okay, write down my name. It's Sean Simpson. Write down my license number, 123456789. And then write down, since you got your pen and paper there, write down the appointment time is Saturday at 12 noon. And then underneath of that, and here's the part I want you guys to catch, is I'll say, write down important. important. And I'll say it twice in a row. And they're literally writing down on that piece of paper, important. Now, what did they just do? They saw the word important. They saw the appointment time, and they heard it, everything through their ears, and they felt it when they wrote it down, right? So now the chances of them remembering that appointment is super, super high because they use 3 senses to write down something that's very important. Because the word important to them, all their life, whenever they heard the word important, something is important that they've had to do. So their brain is trained to know what important means and what to do when that word important is used in their brain, right? And so by writing down important and me saying it twice, now it becomes really, really important. Now, to be honest with you, I don't really care if they throw that paper away. They're going to remember, which they will. Yeah.
Which they are.
And I don't care.
They're going to not so much of throw it away. They're just going to misplace it. It's just going to be another paper somewhere that they not going to find when they want it.
Yes, exactly. But we got
Is this Morgan? Hey, where you been?
Oh, I went MIA for a while.
Yeah, I just looked at the name and realized it's you.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm very happy to be back though, and
good to see you back.
hopefully I won't disappear again.
Good to see you back. Good to see you back.
See you too, or your green screen.
Green bar there.
I got a green bar?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
We can't see you. It's just a green bar on our side.
Oh, you can't see me?
No, it's just a green bar.
What do you mean?
Yep, it's just a green bar. Here, I'll take a screenshot and text it to you after.
I just got a new phone because my other phone took a shit on me this morning. It's been a rough day.
Okay. So yeah, so we only have about 5 minutes left here. So do you guys have any questions, concerns, something that you guys want to work on? Jeff, same question for you. Any questions, concerns, or something that you want to work on real quick?
Is this something I got to do on my end?
No, I don't have anything. But
okay. All right, Jeff. Balraj, anything that you want to work on?
No, Sean. Everything is good.
Okay. Anything else for you, Hytham? Or Morgan?
No, I was just no, thank you. I was just curious if anything I got to do on the app to show.
I don't know. Is your camera on?
Yeah, my camera's on. I can see myself.
Huh. No, we can't see you.
Maybe next time.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're all finished up then. We'll just end it a little bit early if there's nothing else. You guys have a good day.
Sean.
We'll see you guys on Wednesday.
see ya.
Take care, buddy.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you, Sean.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah. Bye.